Could the DeMeco Ryans dream be dying? As of right now, that is the latest buzz. This is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central on Sports Radio 610. DeMeco Ryans to the Denver Broncos. That's the latest chatter. Now, coaching searches, there's always chatter. There's always games being played. And at the last second, something can happen, especially when we're in the process of second interviews. And things can change. But if you listen to what's coming out of Denver and what's coming out of the national media types, it appears that DeMeco Ryans to Denver is the latest craze. And that's what the buzz was yesterday at the Houston Sports Awards. You talk to your media types, you talk to people that are maybe in the know. Someone said this, someone said that. Again, you always got to take it with a grain of salt, but DeMeco Ryans to Denver seems to be kind of the flavor, not even the flavor of the month, but the flavor of the day. The question is why? Why is this the latest buzz? I think it starts with someone who early on in the process got a lot of run. And as this process has gone on, for whatever reason, we're not hearing his name as much. And I think that's Sean Payton. Sean Payton to Denver seemed like a foregone conclusion. And that was what we heard the most. But for whatever reason, there hasn't been a second interview. Maybe he didn't seem as interested in a lot of jobs. Maybe he's holding off till next year when he's 60 years old and 2 years removed from the league and trying to lay out his situation better. But for whatever reason, Sean Payton to Denver doesn't have as much steam as it once did. So now Denver, for whatever reason, they may be looking in other directions, which could lead them to DeMeco Ryans. Now, this could all just be posturing. The Broncos could be playing Sean Payton's game. Sean Payton likes to plant stuff through Colin Cowherd. Sean Payton, a lot of people think he was taking interviews just to set up leverage. He's trying to find the ideal situation. So this could be just savvy business people in Denver playing the game that Sean Payton wants to play, and all signs could lead back to Sean Payton. That's what Ben Albright has kind of been hinting that. Say what you want about Ben. Ben is connected to Denver, and he said buy DeMeco Ryans stock. He said it yesterday. I could easily see a situation where DeMeco goes to Denver and David Shaw's on his staff and Denver outbids him. But could DeMeco have options? Could DeMeco Ryans have to choose between the Denver Broncos and the Houston Texans? And that's where it would get interesting. First of all, no one is going to outbid Denver. I don't think anyone's going to be cheap, but I think if Denver wants to, they can make DeMeco Ryans one of the highest paid coaches in the league, which might be premature to do. And would it be worth it for the Houston Texans? I think they'd be willing to do it, but Denver could make him an offer that they just won't let him refuse. They're never going to be outbid. From a football perspective, though, and this is what I agree with on Ben Albright, I don't know that Denver is the best place to go for your first job. You're immediately tying yourself to Russell Wilson, who appears broken. He appears kind of almost strange, content, a lot of fake hustle. Do you want to tie yourself to Russell Wilson? And do you want to tie yourself into a division where Patrick Mahomes isn't going anywhere soon and Justin Herbert isn't going anywhere soon? In Las Vegas, they might be a quarterback away from being a pretty good team as well. Is that where you want to start your head coaching run? Or would you rather come somewhere where you're familiar with the city, you're beloved in the city? It's going to be a very patient process, and it's going to be a process where you're probably going to get to see things out. I know the one and done thing gets mentioned as like a reason for reservation when it comes to coming to Houston. Denver just got rid of their coach after one and done too. And obviously the Waltons weren't the one that hired him, but they did the same thing. I think the one and done actually gives you more freedom, etc. So I could see that. I actually caught up with Cal McNair yesterday, and there's some other things I want to take away from this. But I caught up with Cal McNair and Hannah McNair yesterday at the Houston Sports Awards. And this is what the McNairs had to say about the coaching search and where they're at. And keep in mind, this was, I think this was Kafka Day. So they'd interviewed Kafka. Here's Cal and Hannah on the red carpet yesterday at the Houston Sports Awards.
search coming?
It's coming great. Is this on your podcast? Because we listen to that. It's really awesome.
On there. Hannah's like a star on there.
Oh no.
Big star.
So it's really been a good process. We've had I feel, a great list of candidates. They're engaging. They're smart. Their football IQ is really high. They get to ask us questions. We ask them, and it's been a really good process.
How has the dynamic between you and Nick? You said it was going to be more. You were going to be more hands-on. Has that been going pretty good?
It's been going great. We've been in every interview, and it's been going great. So we're looking for a great result.
Lots of conversations every day.
Every day.
What's the difference between a first and second interview with the guys? Like, is it more in depth when you get to the second?
So I wouldn't really call it a some people call it a second round or whatever. We're viewing it as more as a continuation of the first interview to sit down and get to know the folks better. So I would say that way.
And there's no timetable or anything, just however it goes on.
Timetables to get the right guy.
When you rush it, you may not get the right person. You take your time and you make sure you get the right guy.
All right, there we go. So there's the McNairs. Man, they've gotten pretty solid at this. I really do truly like them as a team. I'm a big fan of what they got going in the dynamic that they have. Now, the question is this though. The Texans have trust issues, and maybe this doesn't matter because the one thing I do want to make clear, and I've said this 100 times, I've said this throughout the process, the most popular choice, the choice that maybe the fans want, and the choice that maybe I want for sentimental reasons, on top of DeMeco's great resume, it's not always the right result. Nick Sirianni was the most scrutinized hire I can remember. Scrutinized like crazy. People hated Nick Sirianni. Go anyone in Philadelphia now that's saying they were happy with that. I don't like to generalize. I don't like to lump all fans in. I'm very anti-generalization is one of my main methods to broadcasting, whether it's on the show or whether it's here. And if you're here, subscribe, like, keep the stuff going. Shout out to everyone else doing their thing. But I don't like doing that. But I'll say that 90% of Philadelphia was not happy with Nick Sirianni. Just go to Twitter and type in Sirianni be enemy. You want to sit back and get some popcorn and see. Nobody was happy about Nick Sirianni. There was a large portion of people upset in Jacksonville that Doug Peterson got hired instead of Byron Leftwich. Lots. Tony Wiggins is one of them. Covers the team as close as anyone. We were hosting a Spaces that was about 1,000 deep with Jags fans the day that happened. They were pissed off. So the most popular isn't always the best, but the Texans, more so than most teams, there are trust issues. So would there be an initial source of disappointment? Maybe so. Here was Paul Wall. He was also on the red carpet. I think he kind of is in the same camp as a lot of the fans who, maybe they've shifted their attention towards Astros to avoid the heartbreak, and maybe they anticipate the worst. But here was Paul Wall, and I think that he's obviously one of the faces of Houston, but I think he's the face of how a lot of fans feel about what their reaction is going to be when they hear an organization that has earned a lot of trust issues maybe hiring someone that's not necessarily the most popular choice.
Get too hype about, possibly Sean Payton, possibly DeMeco Ryans. Of course, those are my two favorites.
You're all about DeMeco, right?
Yeah, DeMeco, that's my top favorite, just him being a former Texas. The Texans, that would be something that we the fans would love that.
How painful has it been? Obviously, you're one of the biggest Astros fans and Texans fans. How painful has it been just seeing the gap widen?
It's tough, man. We say we sacrificed, one team for the other this year, but the Texans, we coming back. It ain't over for the Texans. It's been an off year, man.
But all DeMeco, right?
Yeah, but it almost seems like you almost don't want them to get it because you don't want them to be set up for failure and they get the job and then they go, 2-15 and then, that's it. And he gets fired and it's a shot. We really want to see him succeed. So we'll see.
First of all, props to Paul Wall for naturally saying 2-15 and adjusting his schedule, his record prediction to the new schedule. A lot of people can't do that. Hell, I find myself sometimes going 11-5 and stuff like that. So props to him. But I do think that he kind of speaks for like the mindset of Texans fans. And it's been earned. It's been deserved. Shout out to the people that are just ride and die no matter what. But I think Paul speaks for a lot of the fans and how they feel. You expect the worst you don't have the benefit of the doubt. Now, there have been stories of organizations that have had that type of mindset and that type of fan skepticism, however you want to say it. But these are the situations. This is why sports generate so much emotion. They generate so much revenue, and this is why decisions got to be made. Sometimes, I mean, John Gruden was a home run hire with the Raiders. I mean, you go talk to any Raiders fan, they were pumped. John Gruden Volume 2. Sign me the hell up for that. That was a home run. Hell, Tom Herman with the University of Texas. I was excited about it. So sometimes the most popular choice isn't the right one, and it doesn't work out. But whether DeMeco Ryans goes to Denver or not, it'll be interesting to see who the Texans do decide to get. And in the short term, I think they're probably, if it's not DeMeco, they're going to have to hear from, disappointed fans. And that's where Nick Caserio's got to go up there and do a sales pitch. Not that BS crap that he's done in the past where it's, process and results and, Michael Dell, when Michael Dell made his decision and blah, blah, blah. Nah, go up there and talk to the people, man. Go up there and talk to the people. Be a normal person, man. Don't be a guy like stuck in his office. Be a normal person. Cal and Hannah are doing a good job of that, talking to the people. Because the skepticism, the pain, the anticipation of the worst is there. But there are a lot of examples, hell, right in this division of popular names not necessarily being the right one. So we'll see what happens. If it is DeMeco, go. That's my number one choice. But let's be honest. I'm aware of the other factors, and if it's not him, we'll see. And it does seem like Denver, for whatever reason, whether it's because they want him or not. By the way, are they tampering? Does it seem like Denver might be tampering a little bit? It's getting a little intense. Is there a little tampering going on? I don't know. It's a lot of smoke. But the buzz is there. And then DeMeco, I mean, if DeMeco chooses Denver over the Texans, then okay. You're basically tying yourself to Russell Wilson, Walmart, and the toughest division in football. So we'll see what happens. I still think this is an appealing job. Albright said as much as well. And I do also wonder, I don't know if this is the case or not. As great as DeMeco's resume is, and we've talked about it, as great as the buzz is, as much as he's my number one choice, I wonder if he's their number one choice because the process is playing out. They're going through these second interviews. They don't have a predetermined notion like myself. They're talking to these guys. They're seeing what they're saying. They're seeing what they bring to the table. They're getting a grasp of what they would do. So I also wonder, maybe I could see Nick Caserio gravitating towards some of these guys, Kafka. But I wonder, like, if it would almost be, they'd be willing to take it on the chin PR-wise. They might not have a choice, and maybe they would actually get the guy that in a perfect world they would want to hire as the process plays out. It's very interesting. The one thing I will say, and this is not based on, anything. I know Lopez has a pretty strong theory on it. You'll hear here in less than an hour on Sports Radio 610, fire up the Odyssey app. I would not sleep on Mike. I would not sleep on Mike Kafka. I've said from the beginning, he seems like the guy that Nick Caserio would like. He comes from the Dable program, which is similar to the Nick Caserio program. He did a really good job with Daniel Jones and overseeing that offense, bringing them from a bottom of the league offense to a middle of the league offense. And if you just looked at the way that Cal and Hannah were talking, just looked at it. You know me, I'm a podium critic. I got to overanalyze things. You know how you can look at someone and tell, man, they had a good day. They had a really good day. I don't know what they did, because yesterday was Kafka interview day. Didn't they just seem to have a little confidence? And the confidence has been strong because they're a hell of a pair. But didn't it seem like maybe just go back and look at it? I got it on a short as well. Just rewind, go back and look at it. Maybe Mike Kafka blew them away. Maybe Mike Kafka was prepared. Maybe Mike Kafka has a pretty good grasp of this team and this program. Don't sleep on Mike. Oh, don't sleep on DeMeco. It's coaching search stuff. This stuff happens all the time. There's games going on. What's true today is not true tomorrow. It's a fluid process. Shout out to one of my mentors, Jean-Jacques Taylor. Fun times ahead. DeMeco to Denver, what would it mean? We'll get into that on In the Loop. We'll talk to you a little bit later today. The search will continue. I'll keep you up to date right here in the locker room. Subscribe, like. If you're a Texans fan, let's ride together. If you're not, it's the best source you can get of digital Texans content. Players weekly on the radio program. We're in the actual locker room after games, and we're talking to all the people that need to be talked to. So keep it locked here. Appreciate you no matter what happens, whether it's DeMeco, whether it's not, whether it's don't sleep on Mike. We're all in this together.